and welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing two stamp sets. We have our Joy to All stamp set and its coordinating dies, and we also have our Furry and Bright stamp set and its coordinating dies. And these sets are so cute. They work great on their own, but they're really fun to mix and match together. They're also been created to be able to mix and match with another stamp set called Window Scene Winter. So these sets work great on their own and they work great together. And we're going to show you how to use them both on their own and together. Another cool thing is they're all sized perfectly to work with our window frame die as well, which is so cool. So once again, you can use these all separate and all together. And over the next 2 days, we're going to be showing you how to do that. We're going to start by taking a look at Joy to All, and this is the adorable Christmas tree with a little Christmas tree skirt from this set. We have this cute little girl and a little boy and a cute little dog that's hanging out with them. We have some fun things to decorate the tree. So we have this beautiful garland, which you can put kind of at an angle or straight. You can stamp it straight on the tree, or you can also use it with the coordinating dies and layer it that way, which is really cool. We have 2 presents to go under the tree. And then we have a star for the top of the tree, of course, and some beautiful ornaments. And I just love these ornaments so much. They're in lots of cool different styles that you can color in all different colors. And then we have these tiny little images that are perfect for putting in that round ornament. So we have like a little snowflake, a star, a different style of snowflake, and another little snowflake there. And so you can mix and match those all together along with the star and put them in that little round ornament, which is so much fun. And then we have a tiny little Christmas light that you can add to the tree too. We have a little present, a dog bowl with a gingerbread man, a stocking, and a candy cane, and those are really fun to hang around the tree as well, and a cute little heart. This set has some wonderful sentiments. We have season's greetings, joy to all, peace, joy, and all things merry, which is my favorite, and may all your Christmas wishes come true, and happy holidays. Now we're going to use some Copic markers to add some color to these adorable images. And these colors right here are my favorite for Christmas trees. I always tend to use them, and they're just kind of this fun woodsy color. I'm adding some shading under each level of the tree and then going from medium in to light. And I'm kind of going back and forth over my colors to make sure that they're nice and blended. So we'll add that dark, and then we'll blend into the medium, and then down into the light. And you'll see just how cute and pretty this looks. I think this tree would be really pretty paper piece too, with some cool green pattern paper. Next, we'll add some color to the trunk and then to the tree skirt. That tree skirt is also really fun to paper piece as well, and we're going to be showing you in one of the cards over the next 2 days how to do that. And then we're going to go ahead and add some color to the little garland. And this is my favorite color combo for reds right now. So the R27 and R24 is kind of that classic red. And then that R39, I just bring it in for tiny little highlights to make it just darker and deeper of a red. And I think it's just so pretty. So I add my dark there, and then I blend it out with that light color. And then I add the darkest marker right along the edges. And it just makes everything pop. And so I'm going to be using the same color combo over the Christmas tree bow, the ornaments, etc., so that all the reds are going to mix and match together. I wanted to play around with another color combo, so I decided to make these presents more of kind of like a neon green, which is really fun too. So it's a brighter green, and I think this combo would be really pretty on the tree as well. Next, we're going to work on those cute little kids. And what's really fun about coloring in people is that you can color them like people you know and love in your life. So I'm always thinking of someone as I choose color for their hair and their clothes and their skin, etc. And it's just so much fun to be able to customize it perfectly for somebody that you know. Now, I just adore this set. It's so much fun, and it makes the cutest little Christmas scenes. But one of the things that I really love about it is that you can mix and match it with those other sets. So with Furry and Bright, Window Scene Winter, and the window frame. So they all work together and they all work separate, which is so fun. I also love that you could take these kids and do different things with them. So I saw somebody create a fall card with them, and I thought that was so cool and so much fun. So depending on how you color their outfits, you can create different types of cards with them. They're so fun to mix and match with the cute little dogs as well. I just love the idea of the kids and dogs around the Christmas tree. And so we're going to go ahead and keep adding in some color. You'll see I colored her outfit in with those same reds that we did for the garland and the Christmas presents. And then for this little boy here, I'm going to color him in some turquoise. And I really love that red and turquoise color combo for Christmas. I always think it's just so pretty. Now, I sometimes struggle blending BG13 and BG11 together. And so, what I like to do is touch the tip of that lightest marker, the BG11, to the BG13, and that helps me create a medium shade that helps me blend between the two colors. So, that's why I was touching the marker to the tip of the other one there previously. And then now we're going to color in this cute little dog. And once we start coloring in Furry and Bright, you'll see lots of fun and cool options for coloring in those adorable little pups. We'll add some yellow to our star for the top of the Christmas tree. And then for the ornaments, I'm going to bring that red color combo in again. And so I just love doing that. Bringing in those reds and having everything mix and match, it's going to make the card look so cohesive. Now, because I had my red markers out, I'm going ahead and coloring all the different areas that I want to be red. The dog bowl, the bow on the present, the stocking, the candy cane, etc. So that's so much fun and awesome to do. And then we're going to bring in that neon-y green again, which was the color we did in the presents. And once again, that's going to all mix and match. So now the presents match the ornaments, which is so cool and so much fun. Next up, we're just going to cut some color to that little gingerbread man that's in there. And for the little buttons, my favorite thing to do is to take out a white gel pen and color those little buttons in. And now you can see how they're bright white and look so cool. Now we're going to take a look at Furry and Bright, and oh my gosh, I'm a dog lover, so I love this set so much. So we've got this little standing guy, and then we've got the guy that's kind of peering up, and he's perfect for using with that window. And then this guy is running away, and we have these Christmas lights that he can hold, which is so cute and so much fun. We have this awesome little hat that you can add to any of these pups, and then we've got our little dog bone there with the bow, and a little speech bubble with two phrases that you can put inside. We have a ruff and a yip, which is so cute for these dogs. And of course, these dogs mix and match perfectly with the kids with Joy to All, with the Christmas tree, and with the other dog in that set. We have some cute little snowflakes to help set the scene and an adorable little heart. And then this little stamp is a little tail wag stamp. And so you can see you can put it around their tails and it makes it look like they're wagging their tails. And I think that is just so adorable and fun. This set has some great sentiments, and it has I rough you, which means you can use these cute dogs outside of the holiday time too. And we have happy holidays and may your days be furry and bright. And so, oh, these dogs are just so much fun, and they're really, really fun to color in. And this is when I love going to all of my different shades of brown, and I pick a different grouping of brown for each of the dogs. Now for this little guy, I'm going to do something unique, and then we're going to leave some white spots on his belly and his snout. And you'll see that I kind of define that with my lightest marker, and then I'm only coloring right up until that line that I created. As you can see how cute that looks, and it gives him such a different look by just adding those little white spots there. Here, I love these E37 markers for these little dachshunds because it really has that reddy brown color that a lot of these types of dogs have. And so this little girl here just looks perfect colored in. I'm going to make it lightest towards the end of her snout. And then I'm just touching those markers together just to help me blend them in just a little bit. We're going to color in the top of the hat. I usually do this in E40. I'm not sure why, but I just like how it looks that way. And then we're going to color in this little guy. And I wanted to try a lighter color combo for this one. So we're doing these E53 markers. And I think he looks really, really cute in that lighter color. As I finished coloring him in, I thought he didn't quite have enough definition, so I brought in that darker marker there, and you can see I'm just adding a little bit of highlight and then blending that out, and that's just going to kind of help bring him to life and have him match the other dogs more. And so I thought that looked really pretty by bringing in that darker marker. Now we're going to add some color in for the lights, and I always like using the dark, and then I just blend it out a little bit with the light, and that gives it a nice glow. We'll add some red to that dog bone, and then some little E40s there to make the dog bone just not plain white. I also like W markers, like a W1. These are the coordinating dies for Joy to All, which you can bend apart at the tabs or use your wire snips to separate. And we're going to take these dies and we're going to line them up with the stamped images. We'll hold them in place with some low tack tape, and then we're going to run it through the die cut machine, and we're going to have perfectly cut out images. And here are all of the images. You can see how many there are in their set, and there's so much fun to mix and match them. So decorating this tree is adorable. Like, you can add these little garlands, you can add the ornaments, the star on top of the tree. There's just so many cute little things that you can do. You can have the kids hold the ornaments as if they're decorating the tree. She can hold the little stocking. They can also hold the presents too, which is really fun and adorable. Then here you can see how you can create cute little scenes with the dog. Here the kids are holding those larger presents, which I think looks really, really sweet as well. Now next up here, we have the coordinating dies for Furry and Bright. And once again, you can use your wire snips to separate these, or you can bend them apart at the tabs. We're going to take these dies and we're going to line them up with our stamped images. We'll hold it in place with some low tack tape. We'll run it through the die cut machine and we're going to have perfectly cut out adorable little dogs. Here is a look at all of the images from this set. Those little guys are so adorable and so sweet, and it's so fun to mix and match these images. So here you can see how the little guy can hold the light string, which, oh my gosh, it's my favorite part of the whole set. And look at those little reindeer antlers on the little dog. You can have the speech bubble go around. You can put the reindeer antlers on other dogs or even other critters that you might have in your stash. They can hold the little dog bone. You can put the little reindeer antlers over there and have those little snowflakes help set your scene. So now we're going to make a card, and we're going to be doing something kind of fun here. So this paper is traditionally diagonal, but I wanted a straight up and down stripe, like it was kind of an old-fashioned wallpaper. So all I did was turn the paper on the diagonal, and it made those stripes straight, and we die cut it with an outside-in stitched rectangle, the largest one. I also went ahead and die cut some wood grain paper that's from the Into the Woods collection, and then we're just going to trim that down to be the floor for our card. I'm also going to trim down a 1/4-inch strip of white cardstock, and that's going to be a little baseboard. And so I love doing that for creating interior scenes. It's like, what's my wallpaper? What's my baseboard? What's my floor? It's almost like you get to design your own little house, which is really cool and really fun. So I'm going to add some tape runner to my baseboard, and we're going to layer that right on top of that wood grain floor. And then we can layer that onto our scene. And I just love that we were able to get a different look out of our pattern paper just by turning it on its side. So I'm definitely going to think of that in the future. How else can I die cut my pattern paper to get even more cool looks out of it? So now we're going to start decorating our Christmas tree, and you're going to notice that all of a sudden my background changed. Well, that's because originally I was thinking about creating like a white brick background, almost like it was like a Chip and Joanna Gaines house, but I just thought it was too busy with like the Christmas tree and all these other elements that I was using. So you'll see I'm decorating the Christmas tree here, but then we're going to go back and switch back to my brand new wallpaper background. So it's kind of fun to mix and match. The brick is super cute though, and I want to use that for a different card in the future. Now, remember how we were talking about how all these stamp sets can work together? We're doing that in this card. So we're mixing and matching all 3 of those sets together. And we're doing that by bringing in this adorable couch. I am obsessed with this couch. It's going to be on every card all year round. It's so cute. It's so much fun to put the little kids and the critters on the couch. And there you can see how adorable it's looking with our Christmas tree. I'm also going to add these little lights to my adorable little dog as well. And that's going to help us start building this scene. So now we're going to start to lay everything in the scene. And I'm used to creating outdoor scenes, not as much indoor scenes. So I asked Jess, who works here at LFHQ, if you ever write into customer service, you get to chat with her, and she's amazing. I thought, Jess, can you help me with this card? And she really helped by thinking about the background and the foreground. So I put my couch in the background, kind of higher up by the baseboard, and then I'm putting the Christmas tree in the foreground by adding some foam dots to it and putting it closer down towards the bottom of my floor. And all of a sudden, this scene just looks amazing versus them both on the same level how I had it earlier. So that advice was so cool, and I really, really loved it. And now I can add my cute little dog running with the Christmas lights as if he took them off the Christmas tree, which is really cute. Next up, we're going to add this cute little kid, and we're going to layer him into the scene, and then we're going to give him a little present to hold to kind of help fill in the rest of this right here. And so you'll see just how cute that looks. Now I'm going to die cut a simple wavy banner out of some white cardstock, and we're going to stamp one of these sentiments from the Joy to All stamp set. And one of the things I love about clear stamps is that you can curve them in any which way. And so we're going to curve this to match the curve of that die cut, stamp it in some black licorice ink, and then we're going to layer that onto the scene. Now here I'm taking some textured dot cardstock in this beautiful bright red, and we cut that down to 5.5 by 4.25. Then we're going to layer on that banner that we stamped with some tape runner, and I'm just going to trim off any of the excess. And then I can layer everything together. So we're going to add some tape runner to the back of the scene and layer that onto the textured dot cardstock, and then some tape runner on a standard size card that's 5.5 by 4.25 and layer the whole thing on top. And then to finish off the card, I'm going to use the glitter pen here, and we're going to layer that right onto the star and onto the little Christmas lights. And it's just going to add a little Christmas sparkle and shine. And then this card is going to be all done. It was so much fun to mix and match the 3 stamp sets and create this adorable little Christmas scene. Decorating the tree is so fun, and I just have adding the little kids with the pups together. It's so sweet and so much fun. So we just created an indoor scene, and so now we're going to create an outdoor scene. So we have the largest stitched rectangle here. We've die cut some white cardstock, and we're going to bring back that brick stencil. So didn't quite work for my inside scene, but we're going to use it for the outside scene here. So I'm going to add some tape runner to the back, and that's just going to help secure it down onto this station here that I'm going to use for my stenciling. You can also just use some low tack tape to hold your stencil in place, but this has some magnets, and so I'm going to use that. So I'm layering that brick stencil right over top, and then those magnets are going to hold it in place nice and steady. And I decided to use fired brick ink. You know, it says brick on it. I figured it'd probably look pretty nice. So we're going to take a blender brush here and we're going to build up the color on this awesome brick stencil. And right now we are recreating a card by Tammy, and this card was just so gorgeous. I was so excited to make it. So here you can see I'm gently building up that color. This brick stencil is pretty delicate. It's got those tiny little lines. So I'm taking my time and going nice and slow. And I realize it doesn't look slow right now because I'm super sped up, but I sped it up a lot because I did take my time. So there you can see that brick is looking really, really cool. And my favorite part of stenciling is peeling that stencil up. Doesn't that look just perfect? Oh, I just love it. So right here, I'm spraying a little bit of water and I'm picking up with a tiny paintbrush and I'm doing very tiny little splatters, and that's going to react with the ink and it's going to make the brick look a little imperfect, kind of like how brick looks when it's outside, right? It's got some little imperfections. So I'm just going to use a paper towel to pick up some excess water, and now we're going to add our snow because this is an outdoor scene. So I'm taking some Copic white here, but any white acrylic paint would do. This is just what I happen to have, and I've mixed it in with some water, and I'm tapping that same tiny paintbrush and I'm putting little snow flurries all over this background. Now here I'm taking out some other outdoor elements, a furry and bright dog and a little bow that comes from my Christmas garland set. And so I'm going to put those on the side there, and I'm going to add some snow flurries to them as well so that they're going to match the scene. So I'm going to tap my paintbrush and just get some snow flurries all over that bow and then onto the little dog. I wouldn't have ever thought to add the little snow flurries onto the critter, and I'm going to do this all the time now because it's so cool and fun, and I just loved how Tammy did this. And by using a very tiny paintbrush and little taps, you can really control where it ends up on your cute little critter. Now, for the little Christmas garland here, I wanted it to be inked as well because I wanted it to coordinate with my inked background. So I'm taking some mowed lawn, that's hard to say, mowed lawn distress ink, and we're going to layer that onto this piece that's been die cut from white. And the Christmas garland is so pretty because it works great on its own, but it's really, really pretty on that window frame die. And so you'll see me using it a lot in the next couple of days. And so right here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add some water sparkles there on there. So there's going to be kind of this water look onto this so that it kind of coordinates with the background, and then we're going to add the white paint on top of it as well, and that way everything's going to match. So we're going to have the water splatters on both the brick and the cute little garland, and then we're going to have the snow on the garland, the bow, the brick, and the dog. And then next up, I had to show you my little helper. My son Miles just had to come and help craft again. So he was just playing around for a while. We took a little break and we came back, and then the background was all dry, which was perfect. So we have our background, and now we're going to take out that window frame. And I've gone ahead and die cut that out of some white cardstock, which is going to look really pretty, like we're looking at the outside of a house. And then here we've got that same striped paper we're going to use as wallpaper, but this time we're going to use it in a diagonal way. And so I just die cut that to fit right behind the window. And then we're going to die cut a little snowy hill. So I'm going to die cut here that same largest stitched rectangle, and then we're going to die cut the hill from that. So you'll see here I'm going to kind of line it up. I'm kind of eyeballing it to see where my window will be, and that's going to give us a nice little snowbank at the bottom of our house. Now this snowbank is going to be the perfect thing to help set the scene, but it's also a perfect place for the sentiment. So we're going to be stamping one of the sentiments that's here from the Window Scene Winter stamp set, and it's one of my favorite sentiments, I think, of all time. It's so cute and pretty, and the wishing you a Merry Christmas is just beautiful. So I'm going to stamp that right there in some black licorice ink, and then we're going to add some inking to this with some ice spruce. So it's kind of like a greeny gray color, and the reason I'm doing this is because the white snowbank was kind of blending in with the white window, and by adding that kind of gray look to it, it kind of looks like when the slush kind of builds up, you know, and it's a little bit gray. So I thought that was so cool that Tammy did that. It really helps define the snow as something different than that bright white window. Now we're going to start layering this adorable little garland onto the window. And how I like to do this is I add little drops of glue just to the tops of the leaves because those other leaves are going to kind of hang down below the window. So you'll see how those kind of hang down. So I only put glue on the very top and it's going to be nice and secure. And then add a little dot of glue in the center and we can layer our bow right on top of that. And look how pretty that is. Oh my goodness, I just love that inked garland. Now here we've got our Christmas tree from Joy to All, and then we've got our cute little pups coming from our Furry and Bright. And so we're going to mix and match all of these sets together with this beautiful window frame die. So we're going to decorate our Christmas tree, which is so much fun. So we're going to add our little ornaments on and the star for the Christmas tree. We're going to start to layer our scene together. And how I like to do this is I like to add some tape runner to the back of my window, and then I'm going to stick the elements to it kind of looking through the window because we're looking in on the inside this time, which is kind of cool. So we're going to look in through that window to this beautiful Christmas scene. And I love the iconic image of the Christmas tree in the window. It's one of my favorite Christmas images, and so this set is so much fun. And now we're going to add that cute little dog with the Christmas lights. I love the idea of him just ripping those Christmas lights right off the Christmas tree. So we're just going to add him right to the scene. And then we can add tape runner to the back of everything and layer it onto that striped panel that's kind of like our wallpaper inside of the house. Now you'll see that I have a little bit of my image sticking off on the outside. We can just cut off the excess. And by having some of the image kind of going off the edge of the window, it really makes it look like the scene keeps extending on the inside of that house. Now we can add our window frame there to the brick of the house. So we've got the outside brick of the house. We're looking in on that cute little Christmas tree scene. And then now this is what brings the whole thing together. So we're going to add this other little pup. He's holding that little bone with a present for his friend that's on the inside of the house. And we're going to layer him right there looking into the window. Oh my gosh, isn't that so cute? And then we're going to add that little bowl there with the gingerbread man just to kind of help finish setting the scene. Then we've got a standard size card base here at 5.5 by 4.25, and we can layer this whole scene on top. And this card is done and it's so cute. I love that little guy looking into the window. I think it's so sweet, and I love that iconic image of the Christmas tree on the window. It's just beautiful for a holiday card. So in these first two cards, we worked on combining these two sets together and using them with different dies and having a lot of cool fun with that. And now next up, Shari is going to show us how to use Joy to All on its own and Furry and Bright on its own. And the first card is a flippy flappy too. So let's go ahead and check it out.
Today's card is made with Joy to All, and I've already colored and cut out all my images from that stamp set that I'm going to use. And then I'm picking out some pattern paper from the Sweater Weather Remix pack. I'm going to pick out this green color that's going to be my wallpaper for my living room where my two little kids and my Christmas tree are. And then I'm also going to use this red with the really small snowflakes for the background on my card base so that I get a nice red border around it. You can see I've cut that piece of green with the largest of these small stitch rectangles, and I've cut a piece of craft cardstock with that same stitch rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and put the star on top of my tree just so I've got it the right height, and I'm doing this so that I can place it onto this panel that I'm creating and know how far up to cut the top of this craft piece of paper to create the floor. So I've used a simple stitched hillside to cut the top, and then I'm going to have this nice curve with a stitching for the top of it. I'm using some dough ink to stamp Woodgrain Backdrop across that whole craft panel, and so now I have a wood floor. And then I'm going to darken that up a little bit by going in with some tea dye distress ink and just ink blending on the edges of this little piece. So I'm going across the top with a little bit more, but I'm also going to go on the bottom too. And this really changes the color of this cardstock and darkens it up a little bit and makes it fit with that green a little better, in my opinion. So once I have this inked the way I want it and looking the way I want it, I'll just set that aside. And I'm putting a piece of that red paper that I picked out earlier onto the card base. So I've just cut this to 5.5 by 4.25 so it fits right on top of this card base. Now I'm going to be making a flippy flappy card, so I've used that same large of the small stitch rectangle, the same size as the green panel, and cut it out of craft. You could also do this out of white. You're not going to see this piece, so it really doesn't matter what color cardstock you use. I'm lining up that flippy flappy mechanism die in the center right along that bottom edge, and then I'm going to fold on the score lines in one direction, flip it, and then fold in the other direction. I'm just using my bone folder to get some nice creased folds. So this is the back side, so I'm going to put a little B on it, and then this is the back side of the tab we're going to pull. So I've cut that from some rainforest cardstock. You just want to feed that first little piece of that accordion tab through that slot, and then I'm going to use a piece of double-sided tape, and then I'll just fold that over onto my tab, and you can see how that's going to move perfectly. Now I flipped it back over to the back. As you can see with the bees, I'm getting some foam tape and doubling it up so it's twice as thick, and I'm going to put that right along the edges of this panel. So you want to make sure this is the only place you put foam tape on the back so that our gift card has space to move in there. And then I'm pulling off the liner of the foam tape, and I'll put this on that card base that I prepped earlier. So I want the gift card on this one to pull out on the right side of my card. So I'll just center that up so we have that nice red border. I've already put some adhesive on there. I'm going to add a little bit more, but you want to make sure you avoid that mechanism so that you don't have any adhesive getting on it. But before I put that green panel on there, I do want to go ahead and add my wood floor that I created and stamp my sentiment. I want to do this while this is nice and flat on my desk before I adhere it to that panel that's popped up on the foam. It would be very hard to stamp that on that foam. So I've added that, lined it up with that flippy flappy panel, and then I can start to add all my images. Of course, I'm going to start with that large tree because that's sort of the centerpiece of this little scene. And then I have my little kids here and that little dachshund, which I just think is so cute. I tried to color that dachshund like a cream wiener dog. I don't know how successful I was, but I wanted to pop all these little images up. I'm using some thin foam squares because this already has a lot of dimension, but I wanted them to look like they're kind of in front of the tree. So I'm just adding those thin foam squares to my little kids, and then I'm going to add some thicker ones to the dog so that it's popped up just a little bit more because it's in front of that little boy. And then I can go in with all my little trinkets and ornaments, my candy canes, that I colored and cut out and start to decorate my tree. I do have some little stockings you can see that I colored and cut out, which I actually did not end up using, but I wasn't sure how many things I would need to make this tree feel nice and full. And of course there's that little present in front of the little girl that I've added too. And then nothing's complete without a little bit of glitter, so I'm going to add some stickles to the ornaments and the star. And then finally I need to add my gift card piece. So I've pulled out that flippy flappy tab. I'm putting a piece of double-sided tape onto that craft piece that's there, and then I've cut this gift card holder from some vanilla malt cardstock, making sure that's stuck down. You can see that's going to cover up that craft piece. And I'm just going to adhere this Amazon gift card with a couple glue dots. And here is that fun flippy flappy card. The card I'm making today is going to feature the new Furry and Bright stamp set, which I really love this stamp set because I love dachshunds. And I'm going to start out with the foursquare backdrop. This is the landscape version, which gives you these 4 rectangles. And I've cut that frame out of some Blue Jay cardstock. I'm going to be using some mermaid cardstock for my background, and I've also cut some of those rectangles out of some fairy dust sparkle, which I'll cut here in a minute to create the snow. But before I do that, I want to do a little bit of ink blending on that mermaid cardstock. So I'm using some Peacock Distress ink, and you can see that I am kind of blending the top of the top two squares. So sort of the corners, where the corners would be in the center, as well as the very top piece. And I've laid this there just as kind of a go by. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask off halfway. So I've got a piece of Post-it note tape. I'm masking off halfway, and that way I can ink blend the bottom two squares in the same way. So I'm just getting my ink back over here and my blending brush and just darkening up those corners and the top of those two bottom rectangles. This kind of gives a little more interest to each of these little scenes in these little squares. And then I'm just going to put my frame back on there and check that I've got everything in the right spot. I'm just going to soften up the edges of that top one just a little bit more, and you can see how perfect that is in all four of those squares. I'm also going to add a little bit of snow to my background, so I've just got some white watercolor paint that I've added some water to, and I'm picking it up with a small paintbrush and just putting some little paint splatters everywhere to look like snow in the sky. Now for that fairy dust cardstock. So I only cut 2 of the rectangles, and then I've dropped them in the holes, and I'm using one of the stitched hillsides, and I'm going to cut both of these at the same time. And I was doing it this way because I thought it would be cool to kind of get the look like that snowy hillside continues from one square over into the other. So you can see there how that looks. And then I only cut 2 of these rectangles because I can then use the other side, the other straight side, just by flipping them around, and do the same thing for the top 2 rectangles. So again, I'm just dropping those in to where they fit right in there, and then I can take my hillside and do the same thing that I did, and I'm using the other hillside so that it goes in the other direction. So I have the high side on the right and the low side on the left, so it's opposite of what I did on the bottom. And I'll just tape those in place and run that through, and then these 2 hills will look continuous once I start assembling all these pieces. So I'm just gonna push those up out of the way. Now I can put my frame onto my background. I'm just using a little bit of liquid glue to trace that frame. And then I'll just layer that right on top of that background, especially now that my paint is nice and dry. Then I can go ahead and put my snow in each of these rectangles. And for my sentiment, I'm going to white emboss the sentiment, "May your days be furry and bright," onto a piece of red cardstock. So I added some anti-static powder, stamped that with my clear embossing ink, and then I'm just adding some white embossing powder, and I'll heat that up with my heat tool so I get that nice bright white sentiment. And I'm embossing this before I die cut the little banner because I think it's easier to handle when you have like a larger piece. It's also easier to line up the die sometimes than it is the stamp. So it just depends on what works best for you. In my case, I did this first because I'm going to make a shorter banner. So I wanted my sentiment on there first. So I can line up my banner. You can see I've kind of got it a little bit more to the left. It's not centered. And then I can take that same banner and slide it over and line it up with the other side. And then this will just trim off that end and I'll get a slightly shorter banner. So I've just got adhesive all over the back of my background panel I've created. I'm going to go ahead and put that on a card base before I put anything else on this card. I want to do this when I still have everything flat before I put anything on there that's popped up with foam. And then for the sentiment, I'm lining it up with that center piece of the frame. I do have this on some foam squares, so it's popped up from the background a little bit. And then now it's time to arrange my little dachshunds. So I tried to color these different because there are a lot of different coats in dachshunds. So I have a black and tan down there on the bottom, a cute little dapple up there on the left, and then of course this one, because it looks like my penny, I colored it as a red dachshund. So I've put that little hat on my little penny dog there. And then I've got the little dapple playing with the string of lights, which I'll glue down in just a minute. And then I thought it would be fun that this little black and tan one's kind of running across both of those panels on the bottom. And he is dragging that string of lights with him. And I do end up adding another string of lights to that third dog. This one I've just got coming from the top, and I'll trim that off. And then I also have all these fun little bones with the bow on them. The perfect little gift for a dog. And then I added, you can see at the top, I added that little speech bubble that comes in the set, and I stamped the word rough inside. Now there are some other stamps in this set to continue setting your scene. I'm going to call these the wiggle squiggles. They are there for the movement of the tail, or this one running, I'm putting it on his ear. And then there's also some snowflakes in this set. There is a larger one and a smaller one. They're both pretty small, but I'm just stamping those around in some peacock ink to add some more snow to the sky. So I've stamped that large one down, and then I'm going in with a smaller one and just filling in a little bit more. And then there's a teeny tiny little heart in this set, which I just think is so cute. And since this red dachshund here looks just like my Penny, I thought it would be really sweet and personal to add the little tiny heart near the Penny dog. So that's what I'm doing here. And then of course, to get that look of shiny Christmas lights, I'm adding some glossy accents to those Christmas lights. You could also use glitter, but I used my glitter stickles on the snowflakes to make them match that glittery snowy bank that the dogs are standing on. And then this is where I added that third light string. I trimmed it off a little bit, but I just felt like it was a little unbalanced that there wasn't some lights with each of the little dogs. So I'm just adding that one to this third one so that everything sort of matches. And of course I'll add the glossy accents to those lights as well. And then here is that finished card, and I just think it is so adorable. I love all these different little dachshunds in different positions, and then I love you can color them in all kinds of colors.
Thank you so much for these adorable cards, Shari. I absolutely love this sweet little scene, and it's so cool that it's a gift card holder too, which is so much fun. And then this card, I just love it. The little Penny dog is the best. Next up, we have some gorgeous cards by the design team. And first up, this card by Mindy is such a stunning card. I love how we have the cute little scene on the inside and we're looking out at that beautiful night sky on the outside. And then this one by Mindy is also so sweet. I love that she brought in that fireplace from another set. It's a perfect match to the couch and the Christmas tree. Here, Megan created the most beautiful scene by adding that Christmas tree to a snow globe. The little puppy in the box is so sweet and fun too. I love how Elena added the girl to the stool from the Perfectly Wicked set. It's so cute and perfect for having her decorate the tree with her friend. This card here by Audrey is so cute and sweet. I love the little pups with the Christmas tree and that one's decorating it. I think that's so adorable and fun. And here you can see that Elise had fun with these cute little pups too. And that fun Let It Shine paper in the background looks so beautiful. Here, Tammy got so creative and she created a Christmas tree with all the critters piled up on top of each other. And those little cats from the Halloween set, they're perfect for Christmas too. This cute little scene by Elise is so fun, and I love that she used the beautiful striped stencil to create a wallpaper for her background. And then here, Grace created a really cool wallpaper by using pattern paper with some vellum over it. And that three-dimensional tree is just so cool. This clean and simple card by Letitia is so much fun, and I love that she brought the cat in from the Perfectly Wicked set. I love that they're so cute for Halloween. Here's a fun little scene, and I love that those little garlands are kind of topsy-turvy on the Christmas tree, and then as you pull that tab, you can see that the gift card pops right out, which is so cool and so much fun. It's such a fun way to present a gift with that cute little Christmas tree in the center. This card here by Lynette is so much fun. I love the dog on the stool and how he's decorating the Christmas tree. It's so cute and fun. And then here you can see the little dogs are out in their snowbank decorating the tiny little tree. So adorable and so cute. And so we cannot wait to see what you guys create with Joy to All and Furry and Bright, so make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!